I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about all the things you do.
Hey fellow foodies, it's Faye from facefood.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make light and fluffy angel food cake. In my bowl I have some sifted powdered sugar and cake flour. And in the bowl of my stand mixer I have egg whites. Believe it or not, I grabbed them from the fridge. They are cold. And I'm adding in some granulated sugar all at once. Also in there is some vanilla extract, and if you're going to use almond extract, which is optional in this recipe, you would add it in at this point as well. This is not conventional method of making meringue, but this works, trust me. Alright, I'm going to also squeeze in some lemon juice, and that's also for flavor, and it acts as a stabilizer for the meringue. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to start on low. We're going to mix it or whip it on low, which is the 2 setting on the KitchenAid, for a minute. And you will see that it's not a pleasant color. It's brown from the vanilla extract, but it will whiten and become a meringue over time. You got to trust the process here. So after a minute, what you want to do is you want to bump it up to the 4 speed, which is a medium speed, and whip it for another 3 minutes. After that, without turning the machine off throughout this whole process, mind you, after that we're going to add some salt all at once. You just got to keep whipping it and be patient, but you know, you gotta fight your urges to question this because trust me, I questioned it when I was testing this, but it does work. So you can see it's already lightening in color because we're adding air into it, so it will get to that white color that meringue should be. Alright, so after you whip it for 3 minutes on the medium speed, you would add in the salt all at once, like I said, and then you would bump it up to the medium high speed, which is like a 6 on a KitchenAid, and you want to whip it for another 3 minutes. So far we have about 7 minutes of whipping. And you can see it's becoming more voluminous, it's whitening like I mentioned, it's becoming glossy. It's starting to look like a meringue. Now the reason why this recipe works with cold egg whites is because we're only beating to a medium peak, so the meringue's not as temperamental. Alright, so after we whip it for another 3 minutes on the medium speed, we whip it up to a medium high speed, which is an 8 on the KitchenAid, and then you want to whip it for another 1 to 2 minutes. For me, it takes about 1.5 minutes for it to get to the medium peak stage. You'll see more tracks begin to form around your whisk, and it will be white, like I said, glossy, and doubled in volume. And this is generally what you're looking for in terms of medium peaks. They hold their shape well, but if you lift the beater, it will kind of curl onto itself, as you see. Alright, so that is what you're looking for in terms of your meringue. Working quickly with meringue is very important. That's why all your prep work should be done. At this point, we're going to add in the lemon zest right away. We don't want to add it beforehand because we don't want any grease in our meringue. That could prevent it from whipping up properly. So we add in the zest, and then we're going to sift in that powdered sugar flour mixture in 2 additions. And it's important to sift it over the top like this because we don't want lumps in our batter. So we pre-sifted it twice, and we're also sifting it again. This will not only get rid of any lumps, but it will also lighten the cake, which is what it's all about. So you really want to make sure to grab a big old spatula, rubber spatula, and begin to fold in the dry ingredients well. Make sure to get the sides, make sure to get the bottom of the bowl, and you don't want to deflate your meringue. You just want to really fold it in gently. Once you fold it in completely, you can add in the second addition of the dry ingredients. And like I said, it's really important to work quickly once the meringue is actually finished, because as the meringue sits, it will deflate. Alright, so once all the dry ingredients are in there, you can go ahead and begin to fold in everything once again. And your arm will get a workout from this, but you're going to reward yourself with a nice light cake for the summer, so a good workout beforehand never hurt anybody. Alright, so just keep on folding until you see no more lumps in there, no big pockets of flour, and sugar is what you're looking for. Okay, so once you're happy with it, you don't see much of the dry ingredients visible, and it's still nice and airy, which is important. We can go ahead and place it in our prepared pan. You're gonna have to use a tube pan, also known as an Angel food cake pan. It's a special pan just made for this cake. It won't work in any other pan, unfortunately. It is what it is. But you want to make sure to not grease your pan at all. I know it's not conventional when making cakes, but for this cake, we don't want to grease it at all. The only thing is, if you have a cake pan like I do, where it doesn't have the removable bottom, you want to put a parchment circle on the bottom just to make sure it doesn't stick. But other than that, we're not doing anything to it. And if it does have the removable bottom, you wouldn't even put the parchment. You can just leave it ungreased and you're ready to go. Now you can see I poured half of the batter in there, and that's because I want to prevent air pockets in this cake. So I'm just going to do half of the batter. Then I'm going to work with my offset spatula to even out the batter gently, making sure not to deflate the meringue. And then once that's nice and even, I can add in the rest of the batter. You see how I'm kind of gently adding it. I don't want to add it all at once and be crazy with it. You really want to be gentle when you work with meringue. Alright, now that the second portion of our batter is in there, the rest of it is in there, we can work to flatten the top. And you want to, again, go with your offset spatula. Be gentle, but you want to evenly and gently even out the top as much as you can. Now it's important to do this because we don't want one side kind of baking unevenly compared to the other. We want a nice even bake. You can see that I kind of cut with the offset spatula. You can also use a knife. I did it twice in the batter, and that's just to prevent air bubbles. I also tapped it on the counter and gave it a light spin. Again, this is also just to prevent air bubbles that are excess. Alright, this is ready to go in the oven. We're going to bake it at 350 for about 35 to 40 minutes. It should be golden brown once it comes out, and it should be springy to the touch, meaning if you touch it, it springs back to you, like so. Alright. This is very important. Immediately out of the oven, you want to flip it over. If you do not, this cake is so light that it will actually collapse on itself. So right out of the oven, flip it over, and this is how it's going to cool. It's going to cool for about an hour to 2 hours, and then after that, you can begin to unmold it, which is much easier if you have the removable bottom variety of this pan. I just don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go around the edges with my paring knife, making sure not to stick into the cake. I'm kind of putting pressure on the pan more so than the cake, and then I'm just going to unmold it. It takes some, maneuvering, but it will come down. Alright. Now I'm going to take my parchment off. Like I said, if you have the removable bottom version, you don't need to do this part. And you can see the parchment kind of dented the top, but that's fine because we are going to cover the top with some berries. Alright, now this is the fun part. You can get nice and creative. It's my favorite part about baking, is you can really get creative with the decorating. So I'm going to decorate it with some berries. This is what this cake is known for, is for being a light cake that grows great with some berries, some chocolate, some whipped cream, whatever it may be. It also, this cake is honestly not like your traditional angel food cake in that it's boring and bland. It has a lot of flavor on its own because of the lemon, the powdered sugar, the extracts that we added. So just alone it's great, but along with everything else, the berries and the cream and whatever you may have with it, it's over the top. Alright, so now that I have some of the strawberries, you can see this cake is so light that the strawberries are actually kind of weighing it down and pushing the cake down a bit, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm gonna add some blueberries in the middle of each strawberry, and then I'm gonna top it off with some powdered sugar dusting. And again, you can decorate it as you wish. You can get as creative as you'd like. This is just how I'm choosing to decorate my cake. Alright, and this is the fun part for me. I love dusting things with powdered sugar. I don't know why. Just kind of whimsical and fun. Alright, so that's our finished cake. Like I said, you can see the berries are kind of pushing the cake down, but it's all good because it's not really going to impact the cake. Alright. So now what you want to do is you want to slice this cake with a serrated knife. That's going to be your best bet. And be gentle with it. And if you did decorate with kind of garnishes of berries like I did, just be sure to take off the bigger berries once you cut into it, just so it's easier to cut into. You can see it has a nice tight crumb. It's very light and it's white, which is what we're looking for in this kind of cake. I'm gonna serve mine with some macerated berries, some blueberries and strawberries. And macerated just means that it's been sitting in some sugar. I also added in some vanilla extract, lemon juice, and lemon zest, but really just some sugar will get the juices flowing, which is really what you're looking for in terms of macerated berries. You can also just make a sauce. You can just eat it with raw berries, chocolate, whipped cream. Really, the options are endless. Alright, so I'm not the best at plating. I'm just not. I never have been. I probably never will be. So I'm just gonna decorate this as I see fit. And I'm gonna dollop some homemade whipped cream on there. This is how I like serving my pound cakes, my angel food cakes, things like that. This cake is wonderfully light. It's fluffy. You saw the process was incredibly easy, especially compared to the traditional process. It's a wonderful summer cake. Pretty much like no calories, which is great. And it's flavorful. You got the lemon, which is a great accent to the berries. You have the vanilla in there, the almond extract if you choose to use that. So it's a flavorful, light cake, great for the summer. I hope you guys give this a try. For the full recipe, go to facefood.com. Like this video, comment below if you have any comments or questions, and subscribe to this channel for more great videos on the way. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
I've been reading you to figure what you're down for. I wanna figure out to make it come around. But we should quit the game and settle things right here, right now. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about all the things you do. I wanna take you from